So we're here to talk about maximizing your use of macOS, even more insider tips for efficient Mac administration. Hopefully some of these are useful. I am Nate Felton. I am currently a senior client platform engineer at Flywire, a global fintech. I am remote out of Rochester, New York, Western New York. For those of you, when I say New York, it's New York City is about 5 hours away. Toronto's 3, so like Toronto's my major metro. I have a little bit of a tradition. I didn't actually count, but I've presented a few times here, and I like to embarrass my daughter. As she gets older, she actually knows she's being embarrassed. So these are just a few photos. Back in January, we spent way too much money at Disney. So a few
Not
of
hard
these,
to do.
Yes. So she did the Bippity Boppity boutique experience in a Star Wars dress. And we also paid for PhotoPass. So this is my lovely daughter, 12 going on 25. So just a few highlights from that trip. That one's one of my favorites. That came out really good.
That's a good one.
Tron. And this was us, me wearing my Stitch shirt, her wearing her Stitch shirt at the recent live action Stitch. So update for my daughter.
And just like Nate, I also hail from America's North Coast on Lake Ontario, where I serve as the Associate Director of Computing Services at the Eastman School of Music. Eastman School of Music is a world-class leader in music education, spanning 9 decades of producing award-winning graduates, boasting Guggenheim Fellows, along with Grammy and ASCAP award winners on its distinguished faculty. That's how they cover the trip for me to come and talk. All right, so we're ready to do this?
Yeah, we want to tell you about some things that we love.
Yes.
But to start,
this is one of our favorite things.
yes.
So you might recall and remember us from last year when we were in this room.
We were next door, but
We were, yeah, doing a very similar prezo. Hey YouTube, of all the people who are watching on YouTube, you can scan your screen now and go check out the link to last year's to see even more stuff that we will definitely not cover again.
So the goal of this session is to discuss some of the tips, tricks, and tools that many of us know exist, but maybe never took the time to investigate ourselves. The hope that some of these will improve your day-to-day as a Mac admin. Again, these are some things that we use on a daily basis. I do want to do a shout out. This year we did take quite a few tips from the community on things that they love.
Yeah.
So we did some shout outs in the slides and stuff like that. So thank you to those that helped add slides to our deck.
And when we get done, we will be sure to take Q&A, or if there are other awesome things that people in the room want us to know about, we will happily share that with people too. So, on to the stuff. One of the things that I definitely wanted to bring up again, because it does bear repeating, is one of the most annoying things that I have to deal with in my job is trying to have the communications about having communications with people. So the meta meeting of trying to figure out when we can actually get together or have a Zoom conference or meet on Teams, and it drives me crazy. So one of the things I can recommend, if it is at all possible for you, is to make use of an online scheduling tool like Microsoft Bookings or Calendly. These tools are great because they help you avoid that entire meta meeting. Those tools look at your calendar, let you describe what kinds of meetings you'd like to have with people, and then simply give those people who want to meet with you a link where they can select what kind of meeting, when it should happen, and you can build a page that has your picture on it and describes what kind of meeting you want to have. And they can pick that. And then they can pick which day and which time slot. And then it just shows up on your calendar. The beauty of this is that you never get double booked because these tools only offer the times that you are actively available. And if you're not available in a given day at a given time, they can select something where you are available. Sometimes it's really tough to get buy-in for this from management. Why do I need to subscribe to this or get a tool running just so that you don't have to talk to people, Dennis? So I say, well, there are Fortune 5 companies, not 500, but Fortune 5 companies that do this kind of thing. So anytime you go to an Apple store, for example, and want to get help with your Apple products, the first thing they do is ask you to schedule an appointment. They do a very similar thing where they ask you to pick a day and then pick a time. And then they know when to expect you. And it makes for a convenient way to make sure that your time is well spent and so is theirs.
All right. Onto some terminal tips and tricks. The first one is actually oh, you did it for me.
I doubt it.
This one came from William Smith, Talking Moose. In Setup Assistant, you can do Control-Option-Command-T to actually get a terminal window, and that comes in handy if you're trying to do some troubleshooting during your setup, if your ADE is not working as you would expect it to, if you're trying to get screenshots for documentation and stuff like that. Ultimately, if there's a problem with your flow that you can't eventually get to a desktop, this gives you a great tool to do some troubleshooting and things like that. And along with that, there are two locations. Again, if you can't eventually get to the desktop, if you take screenshots during Setup Assistant and you can get to the desktop, they show up on your desktop. But if there's something wrong with that process, they actually show up in these two locations on disk, so that if you can't get to the desktop, you can boot into recovery, and they are available on disk for you to grab them. Great for potentially filing feedback and stuff like that. You can show what's going wrong and stuff like that. You can actually use the previous tip of being able to open the terminal in Setup Assistant to actually secure copy the files, the screenshots off the machine to save you that one extra step of having to boot into recovery. So that's what that is. Pre-commit was submitted by Mike Solon, Flammable. This is one it was kind of a no-brainer. I'm like, I use this at work. Why didn't I think of this kind of thing? So thanks, Mike. But pre-commit is a framework for managing and maintaining Git hooks. It essentially helps you to prevent making mistakes before you commit to your Git repository. And specifically, in the Mac admins community, Elliot Jordan actually has some pre-commit hooks that are specific to Mac admins. He has a talk on this. He has a blog on this. I highly recommend this. There's very specific things, again, to the Mac admin community that help with your workflows. Again, if you're into like AutoPackage or Monkey, there's hooks that help with that to prevent you from potentially committing something to production that is going to break your manifests or whatever. As a quick example, this is just a kind of what pre-commit looks like. You can see that we have some passed, some failed, some are skipped because those checks don't apply to the files you're committing into the Git repository. This one here is one I actually submitted to the repository. Essentially, when you try to commit a plist, it will actually auto-format it using the plutil command, so that it's kind of like if you use Python and Black, and if there's others, but like essentially it formats it for you. You don't get to have a choice. This is how it's going to get formatted, kind of thing. And it allows for consistency and less arguments about how your XML should be spaces or tabs and stuff like that. It just, everyone follows this and it's all the same. The next one down that failed was there was something that has its execute flag on a file, but it didn't find a shebang in the script. So it's like, hey, this is executable, but you don't have a shebang, so that we don't know what to do with it, kind of thing. So it's just kind of, this one doesn't actually change it for you. It's more of just a warning to go fix it before you try to commit it again.
Right.
Whereas the one before will actually modify the file for you. Same with this one, this last one. This makes sure that your files end with a new line. Again, just helps with consistency. And again, only has one new line and not 15, kind of thing. And this will actually modify the file for you to make it only have one new line.
So this is the type of thing that if you were around when Apple was using things like, or being used for things like prepress or page layout, and you had designers that were using Quark Express or Adobe InDesign, and you had to do a pre-flight check to make sure that you had all your spot colors correct, all of your assets in, all of your fonts in before you'd send stuff off to the printing press. This is the same kind of thing, but for committing code rather than layouts. All right, so the next thing, if you don't know about Homebrew, I'm happy to be the person that is sharing information about Homebrew with you. It's essentially a package manager that lets you install third-party applications from your command line rather than having to go to the App Store, rather than having to go to individual websites. This gives you a convenient place to source them and install them. More importantly, as time goes on, you may want to try and keep those up to date. So it gives you an easy way to keep those up to date as well. So typing in brew upgrade into my terminal in the morning while I go get a beverage is the first thing I do, and it goes off and picks out all of the things that need to be updated and installs them on my machine. If ever I decide I don't want one of those anymore, I can do brew remove and whatever the name of the application is, and it will dutifully go find the application, all the supporting things that it needs, and pull those off my machine as well. Now, it could be said that this is a very useful tool. I don't recommend installing it on your entire fleet for obvious reasons, but I do think it's useful for the average Mac admin to have on their own equipment at their own desk. We also talked about, there was something else we wanted to say about Homebrew beyond only install it on your local thing, but it'll come to me later.
Okay. So Workbrew is a vendor this year, a sponsor. There was a session earlier today, so I can't say, hey, go watch their session later because it happened earlier. So go watch the recording. And also they have a booth out there with stickers. So go have a chat with them, and I'm sure they'll tell you all about it a lot better than I can. But essentially, it gives you analytics on Homebrew and your fleet. And in theory, you can keep your fleet updated using Workbrew. And again, I'm out of my comfort zone on what it can do, so go talk to the actual vendor.
But it sounded really cool.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So one of the other challenges, if you're not using Homebrew and you are using the Mac App Store, is you end up in a situation where you eventually have a whole bunch of things that have updates waiting for you to install. And you certainly can click the install button, or if you're feeling really bored, you can go click each individual upgrade button. But there are, again, command line tools that can help you with this. One is called MAS. I don't know if they pronounce it MAS or if they do something else, but it's a tool that lets you go and fetch things from the App Store. You do have to give it an Apple ID to work with, but it has a very small list of verbs that you can associate with the command that will go let you fetch things. And you might be asking, how do I fetch these individual apps? Well, the answer is you start at the App Store and you make sure to hit the little share button, which is the tiny little thing in the upper corner, and when you hit that, you get a menu that looks like this, and if you do the copy link, there is a string of numbers at the end that is a unique ID for the application on the App Store, and you can use that in association with the MAS command to go install and update applications. So again, this is a way to manage things from the command line. So instead of seeing the Mac App Store window with all the things that need to be updated, you can issue a command. This is just MAS upgrade. It says I'll go upgrade the following 8 things. It lists them out. And then it proceeds to, again, dutifully go find those updates and make sure that they get installed. And when it's all done, it looks like that. All right, so another tool that I found out about within the last 12 months is one called Network Quality. This is built into macOS. And it is sort of like if anybody's ever gone to speedtest.net on the web or downloaded the applications for that purpose to get a sense of what does my network health look like, how much am I able to push through in terms of bandwidth. This is a tool that you can run from the command line that does a very similar thing. I don't recommend doing it here during the conference because it will give you very small numbers that will make you sad. But it does give you stats on uplink and downlink, something called responsiveness, where it just gives a general low, medium, or high result, and then a metric that I was not aware of called round trips per minute, which I thought sounded kind of interesting. And when you run it, oh yes, there is a measure of the responsiveness, and you can learn more about how Apple computes that if you go to this particular support page in the knowledge base. And when you run it verbosely, you end up with a result that looks like this. And otherwise, the summary part at the bottom is what you get if you don't choose to do the verbose stuff. Again, this is built into macOS. It's already installed on all of your Apple devices.
Finder tips and tricks. Some of these are, I'll say this up front, some of these are really whimsical, or I guess like they're not great, but they're still tips. So the first one is bulk rename some multiple files. This is something I actually saw a tip out on like YouTube Shorts or something like that. I'm like, yeah, cool. I didn't actually know you could do that, so here we go, kind of thing. But essentially, say your Disney 2025 trip and you don't want image at the beginning of them, you can select them all, rename, and you can do something like find IMG and replace it with Disney 2025. So there are much better uses for this. This is just a quick example, but it was one of those things where I always kind of pick a file, press enter, and like rename. Like I've never used this before, so it was a discovered feature for me. Navigate to parent folders. This one, there's tons of ways to kind of navigate through the Finder, but this one, I consider this hidden because I didn't know about it, but
It was new to you.
it was new to me, and like one of the things about macOS is you kind of just have to go and click around, and then you have to click around holding Command, and then you have to click around clicking, Command and Option, and then Command Shift and click, and like you just have to click around to discover some of these things sometimes. But this allows you to kind of command click the folder, and then you can pick the parent, and then if you continue to hold command, it'll open it in a new tab. So one of those things I didn't know you could actually command click the folder name at the top. So just a different way to get to parent folders. Toggle hidden files and folders. This one, again, there's quite a few times people are trying to get to the library more than anything. So if you do Command-Shift-Period, oh, thank you for Mike Lynn Frogger, who recommended this one in Slack. If you do Command-Shift-Period, it'll show your hidden files. Library is hidden by default. Any of your dot files or dot folders are also hidden by default, so this little keyboard shortcut will display them, and it just one easier way to kind of like find the library folder, for example.
Cool. All right, moving on, away from Finder, away from Terminal, but towards hardware. Again, this is something that we did talk about last year, but I think it's important enough that it bears repeating.
I just realized that's not like the standard US keyboard.
You're right.
I don't know where that's from. Anyway, that was not AI generated. That was from an Apple website. But anyway.
I absolutely love that Touch ID is part of my Mac computing experience, and I am very thankful that Apple makes it very available on all of their laptops and all of their Bluetooth keyboards as well. It unlocks my keychain. It allows me to not have to reuse passwords. It allows me to set individual passwords for all the different things, as all my security friends would love for me to do. And if you are primarily working in the Finder or in Safari, it's a great way to do this. Other browsers, your mileage may vary. But one of the challenges is, again, if you spend a lot of time in Terminal and you're typing the sudo command all the time, then you have to type your password in. But I have good news. There is a way to enable Touch ID for sudo so that when you put in a sudo command into Terminal, it will prompt you with a dialog that looks like this. It's tremendously easy to do, and it involves going and finding a small configuration file and making an adjustment there. And when you do it well, it really only has 2 steps to it. There is no step 3. And you essentially open up the file and you take that comment character out, the octothorpe there at the beginning, and then you save it. You don't have to reboot. You don't have to log out and log back in. And at the moment you do that, you can start using Touch ID for sudo.
I forgot a prop. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
No,
this will be good.
Back with a prop.
It works. Okay, we're hearing from the audience that this also works with Watch ID.
Aha.
Users have to work as a managed sudo config to deliver that one file.
I will make sure to toss you the catchbox so we can capture that for the recording, because I'm confident that everybody will want to know that.
Are we doing that now?
Well,
Okay.
We've got so much to cover, man.
I know,
We
right?
got to keep rolling.
Sorry. Portable external monitor. Yay. Essentially, this is a great way that if you're on the go, remote, whatever, this is a great way to double your screen real estate. I use it a lot when I'm traveling. I use it to like reference one thing on the one screen and type and do whatever on the other screen kind of thing. The thing I love about this is some of the older models, you still had to power them and connect them. This one, for example, it's a single USB-C cable from your Mac. You can, if you want, again, I don't know if every model does this. This is the MSI model. You can actually plug in power USB-C to this and then USB-C to your computer, and it'll power delivery through it kind of thing. Or these batteries last like 12 hours kind of thing, even with an external display. So, your mileage may vary with that, but this thing is great. I highly recommend it. Nowadays, you can get them $70, probably some of the cheaper ones even less kind of deal, but highly, highly recommend.
All right.
Portal does it do?
What was that?
Portal.
Portal?
Yeah, autocomplete.
Ah, come on. I can't fix it right now. Good
Womp
catch.
womp.
Yeah, it's the blue portal. The orange one is elsewhere. Other interesting tips, otherwise known as we didn't have a category, so we threw them in one.
Right.
Okay. I can't believe I put this in here, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. This is something I actually learned back in my computer lab days, okay? So we used to have computer labs with high volume printing and duplexers and stuff like that. So this is actually a neat little way to generate test pages instead of having to go and find like a multi-page PDF to download and print and stuff like that.
Right, because if you do the test command,
you
the
get
send
one
its
page.
printer test, you only get a single page.
Right, yep.
And it's very pretty, but
You only get
it
one.
doesn't let you test your duplexer that way.
Exactly. So this is a silly little command that allows you to do either lorem and some parameters to get different levels of sentences and paragraphs. Essentially, you can generate sample text, lorem or rand. The first parameter is the number of paragraphs you'd like to generate. The second parameter is the number of sentences in each paragraph, and the parameters are optional. They default to 3 and 3. I usually do equals, equal rand 1212, and that gives me, I think, about 2.5 pages. And that was muscle memory at some point where I was just building test pages to test that my duplex was using in my computer labs kind of thing. So silly, but it works. Here's the official documentation from Microsoft. I was actually surprised to find there was actual documentation about this, but there is, so there's that. In the Google realm, if you're not Microsoft licensed for whatever reason, I did find an extension called Gibberish that does something very similar. And, at that point, you could probably save it and find it faster, but because trying to find an extension just to generate text is probably longer than
kind
going
of
and finding.
overkill.
Yeah, right. So, but it does exist. Next is system diagnostics. Again, thank you to Mike Lynn Frogger for this one. You need the 5-point palm exploding heart technique to be able to do this one. Command, Option, Shift, Control, period.
Yeah, finger yoga.
Finger yoga, yes. The one thing I did learn about this from Frogger is this is available almost any time after you see the initial boot logo, the Apple logo. I thought you had to be kind of further along into the boot for this to be available, but apparently it's available sooner. Again, kind of like the earlier tip with screenshots and stuff during Setup Assistant, this is nice if you are having problems with your deployment ADE and stuff like that. And another thing he pointed out is that this actually does go into private var temp and not temp. So again, when you reboot, your sysdiagnostics should be available from recovery if you need to get them off the system to submit a feedback, from your actual workstation kind of thing.
Right. Okay, now,
Yeah.
but what about Zoom?
What about Zoom? So, no, not that Zoom. Or this Zoom.
It is good, though.
Zoom that tiny text.
That's right. So there are times when you're sitting at your keyboard and somebody wanders into your office and you want to show them something that's on your screen. But your screen is very high res and some of the text might be very small. There are ways to use the accessibility controls to make those things more readable to other people and also to share those in video conferences as well. And these are all, again, built into your machine already. They don't require a third-party piece of software. And they're in the accessibility area of system settings. So if you go to accessibility and then click on Zoom, you can then, what I like to do is to turn on the switch for the scroll gesture with the modifier key. I typically set mine to control because that's the key in the corner of my keyboard on my desk. And that allows me to hit that with my pinky and hit the scroll wheel with the other side, and then the screen gets bigger so I can show people what I want to show them. But that's not all. You can also click on the advanced button. And you wanted to talk about the how to make this show up.
Yeah, so essentially,
if
if you do the full screen option, the only way to get that to show up on your Zoom is to actually turn on this show zoomed image while screen sharing. So you'll need to enable this to have Zoom on your Zoom.
While you zoom.
While you Zoom.
Right.
Zoom. Another great option is the picture-in-picture option. So instead of doing the full screen zoom and making everything big, there's actually a picture-in-picture option you can do, and it kind of gives you like a little box that you can, and there's all sorts of features to tweak this and how to make it show up and like if you can move it or not. Like I highly recommend you just kind of like look through the accessibility settings on it. But again, another great tool, especially during screen sharing, to be like, well, that thing right there, and then you can instead be like, this thing right here. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So there's very little confusion.
Yes, right there. Drag and drop paths. This is one of the ones that we had originally, but like quite a few people in the community actually were mentioning different options for dragging and dropping paths to get the path name and stuff like that. My recommendation, I recommend turning on the show window title icons, unfortunately, in my opinion. But it's disabled by default on new versions of macOS, new installs of macOS. The little folder icons aren't next to the folder name in the Finder.
Yeah, I think officially they're called the proxy icon.
So this is an example of that. Once you have them on, you can kind of drag the folder into terminal, and hey, it drops the path right into terminal. One thing I didn't put in the example is a path with a space in it. If it is a space, it actually puts the proper quotes to escape the spaces or ignore the spaces, whatever the heck that feature is.
Yeah, just turn it into a string.
Right, so that is helpful. Another version of this is if you have a super awesome document that you want to save and you happen to also have the folder in Finder open that you want to save it to, instead of trying to click through all of your directories to find that folder, you can instead grab the path, drag it into your save dialog, and it'll change to that path for you. So instead of having to click into some really long path, it automatically opens that path for you. This also works in the open dialog as well, for what it's worth. Similarly, there's a copy as path option. Again, this is one of the things where you have to click through the Finder while holding the Option key a few times and whatnot, but you can right-click an app or a directory or something, and then while holding Option key, you get the copy item as path name. And I just open up the Spotlight real quick to show that it's on the clipboard. So it's just another quick way that if you have a file or something that you need the path for some various reason, it's a faster way than maybe opening terminal and switching to it and then PWD and stuff like that.
Right. So we've talked about terminal, we talked about Finder, we talked about some hardware. There are other things that we talk about, again, that didn't really fit into a particular area, but they were more like conceptual ideas that we thought were worth sharing. The one that I have thought more about recently is that we get a lot of notifications, and it's good for your team to have a specific place to look for these notifications, and it's also very important how you format these notifications. Where I work, one of the things that I've asked my team to do is to use giant green check marks if things are going well, if it wants to just notify us that something finished successfully. If something's failing, I want to know about that too, so please put the police spinny light on it. Let me know that there's something here that's going to require some attention from somewhere. And then as those come in, we know what to look for. But again, giving them a common place to report to means that you really have to check many fewer places, and it gives you a common destination for all of those important notifications. So things like, yeah, a printer is down or out of toner or out of paper, or your server didn't finish its backup last night, a machine is taking too long to respond to pings than it ought to, or CPU usage is too high. These are the kinds of things that we want to keep track of, but having a common place for those to live really helps. I also recommend that you do documentation. So there are documentation sessions that have happened in the past and that are also happening this year as well. We recommend attending those and learning as much as you can, because those are a gift to your future self, as is commonly expressed. It's important to write things down, but it's also important to share that with your team, and the way to level up is also to let your team edit things, improve things, make things less confusing. And if you can use a tool that has version history, so things like Google Docs that let you roll back in time, things like a wiki that let you roll back in time, you don't have to worry about things getting clobbered. The type of information that you put in, the knowledge that you record there, can stay there and be helpful for your team in the future.
Recommended tools and utilities. So again, if you didn't attend or couldn't attend and haven't watched the YouTube video, there was a ton of great utilities that were mentioned last year. We didn't copy them over this year, so I highly recommend you go and watch the old video to learn about these utilities. They're still great utilities, and I highly recommend every one that we recommended last time. But we do have some new ones. So this one is Asset Catalog Tinkerer. I found lately that newer apps, obviously Swift apps and stuff like that, have been storing their higher resolution assets, graphics, icons, stuff like that in this assets.car file. And this tool lets you extract those assets from that file, so that most of the icons that you see here for these apps I use this tool to get the icons for those apps. So it's on GitHub, Asset Catalog Tinkerer. I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try, and I don't want to butcher it. He also makes Virtual Buddy. It's no surprise, like virtual machines have been a thing for years, but VirtualBuddy is a great one to kind of just quickly get a VM up and running. This one, in my opinion, is more if you're trying to do something quickly and want to test something, or betas maybe, that kind of stuff.
Or if you just want to see what the new interface looks like in a new OS that's due out soon, this is a way that you can get those betas rolling.
Yeah, some of the screenshots I've taken through these were using VirtualBuddy to get clean screenshots that weren't from my messy desktop and stuff like that too. So another great tip. Tart is another virtualization thing, but it's more focused on doing like CI/CD workflows and stuff like that. But again, you can run it locally on your machine. One of the things I love about Tart is it can use an OCI compatible repo to pull down already made versions of the OS so that you don't have to like install the OS or anything like that. Again, another great tool. If you're into the CI/CD stuff, I highly recommend this to at least take a look at it if you're not already using it. Yeah. NetSpot, this one is, don't use it here, you'll be sad. A great tool, though, to kind of see if your Wi-Fi at home, for example, is strong enough in the corners of the house. You know, if your kid complains that Netflix lags on their iPad in the corner of their bedroom,
right.
You know, you can take this in there and be like, yeah, the router's halfway across the house.
Yeah, it makes the invisible visible.
Right.
It's also really useful for convincing your boss that you need some more APs.
Also true.
You can wander around. If you can talk to your facilities people and get floor plans of your building, this is great. As you can see here, you can load in the floor plan. Each of those dots is a place where you stand and then press a button that says take some measurements. And then it proceeds to create a heat map of where signal strength is strongest and throughput is strongest. Not terribly expensive, but really nice and handy to have.
Anytime I do this app, I think of the Verizon commercial where he like takes a step and he's like, "Can you hear me now?"
Right.
Can you? And that's what I think of when I do the heat
Very
map.
similar.
In the same vein, Wi-Fi signal strength analyzer. These two recommendations actually came from, I forgot to look up the year, but Chris Daw and Tom Bridge actually did a great Wi-Fi workshop called Arguing with Physics, which was amazing. So both these tools were actually recommended way back then, and I've still used them to this day. This is actually on my computer right now, and I cry every time I open it at the conference. But this is available on the Mac App Store. I think it's $5. It's not
affordable.
Free. It's affordable, and they've never done like an update to it. Like there's no version 2 where you have to buy a new version or anything. But it's a great little menu item that just kind of like lets you know if your Wi-Fi is doing good or not. TOT, this one got an honorable mention last year. I don't know if it actually made it into the recording, but I'm going to mention it this year. This one is again another menu bar thing. I use it kind of as a rapid text copy and paste board kind of thing. The cool thing about it is there's, I believe, 7. Yeah, there's 7 different tabs of colors kind of thing. So I do things like the blue one is Flywire, because Flywire's main color is blue. And then like I do some IT for firehouses. So like the red is the firehouses, that kind of stuff. So I keep little notes in there, things to keep easily copy and paste between windows and stuff like that. The cool thing about it, so TOT is free for macOS, but it does sync using iCloud to iOS devices, but I believe the iOS version of the app is paid, and that's how they kind of make their money, is they sell you one but not the other, I guess. So another great tool. Oh, this one's yours, Choosy.
Yes, Choosy. We heard about this from Brian. One of the challenges with certain websites is that they seem to work better in some browsers than others. And if you were watching last year's video, you'll see a giant picture of a Stream Deck that I have at my desk that I use to launch all the things that I need to get to easily or in a hurry. And some of those work better in some browsers than others. Choosy lets me specify which browser a particular link should open in. And this helps me not spend time wondering why it's not working and then saying, oh, right, this doesn't work in Safari, but it works in Chrome. So this lets me specify the things like the browser I might need for webmail, or to go to the HR website, or to particular vendors or the admin portals that I'm making use of. Anything that you might need to make a specific determination for, this will happily do for you. Similarly, if you have text that you deal with and you don't want to paste it into a random website that claims that it's not going to steal it while it transfers it from one type of format to a different type of format, There are standalone apps that you can install on your Mac. One example of that is Boop. Again, this was submitted by Brian in the community. And it allows you to run given functions on the text that you put in so that you can turn things that are otherwise incomprehensible into useful formatted text. Okay, we also love office supplies. I work in an office. Nate works in a home office.
I work in my basement. Yeah.
And if you were here last year, you heard me sing the praises of the Post-it full stick notes. Who here is aware of these? Ooh, okay, that's more hands than I was expecting. That's good. These are fantastic because they, unlike regular Post-its that only have just a little strip of adhesive at the top, so when you put things on a laptop or a folder or a file, they can easily get pulled off or get pushed off. They're not as good, but these are kind of the inverse. They have sticky adhesive across the entire back except for that little strip. And that makes it really easy to make signage out of them or to label a laptop that says, don't reimage me. That's something you can do with these. Unfortunately,
Could do with these.
I have bad news. We've reached the in memoriam section of the presentation because the full stick notes, while we do appreciate them and thank them for their service, are no more. So we unfortunately will have to remember them fondly because 3M unfortunately has discontinued them. Moving on, I did also hear that people wanted to clean out their Lightning ports and their USB-C ports on all sorts of different devices. And as you and I know, pocket lint and other miscellaneous dust, debris, and funk can get in there and cause trouble when you're actually trying to make use of those ports for their intended purpose. One of the things you can do is use one of these Pixters tools. I do recommend using size 1 and size 2 because those are the smaller ones, to go in and clean out these troublesome nooks and crannies that collect all the funk. I'm told that the fibers on this are spiraled, so you can put them in and then give them a twist, and it helps to pull out all the things that you might care about. And the notes that I saw also said that you can wet them with IPA to reduce the corrosion that you might get otherwise on contacts. Websites.
So these are tools that are websites, I guess, rather than full-featured native apps kind of thing. So,
Right.
A relatively new one, AutoPackage Web. Highly recommend checking this out if you use AutoPackage at all. It's kind of a location to see all sorts of different statistics and search for recipes because search has been broke for a few years. So a great tool or a great website. There's, I always forget what it is. Yeah, there's issues with the recipes. There's the top 10 repositories, and I don't even know. Oh, statistics. Yeah, it tells you about the different types of recipes there are and stuff like that. Highly recommend. Another great website, I was actually going to add some of the tools from Objective-C to this, and then I realized there's just so many of them. So instead, I'm giving a shout out to the entire website. This is by Patrick Wardle. He has a bunch, they're all open source, so there's 2 links here. One is to his actual website, and then one is to the GitHub repo of them. I didn't actually count. Again, I think there's at least 10 different things, and they're all very niche, but they're also very cool to play and tinker with. I will add one little asterisk, dagger, double dagger. There is malware on this website. And
What?
Yes, it's very like, you know it's malware. There's passwords to unlock it and stuff like that to do like testing and stuff like that. But stay away from that section.
On purpose?
On purpose, yes.
Okay.
Yes, he's saved previous versions.
Did Patrick know about this?
Yes, yes. It's literally in the menu.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
It has its own category?
Yeah, it does. Yes.
Perfect.
Leave it alone.
Spell it out.
Another one is MOFA, Microsoft Overview Feed for Apple. For those of you who are aware of macadmins.software, was put together by Paul Bowden, thank you, and has since not been maintained. Paul's not in the community much anymore, so I didn't put his name, sorry whoever you are. There's a new website now basically, but this is a kind of consolidation of links to Microsoft applications. And for what it's worth, these are links that are Microsoft links, so you can trust them. It's not like someone's downloading them and like saving them somewhere in another repo or whatever. It's basically just here's all the apps and here's the links to get to them faster, easier, better kind of thing.
So if you need standalone installers to Microsoft Office or to any other Microsoft products, this is a great place to go get those.
It also has links to pretty much everything that was on.
Okay, people let us know from the audience that just about everything from Microsoft that's macOS based is
No, everything that was on macadmins.software.
everything that was at macadmins.software.
All right, so
available there.
it's a spiritual successor to macadmins.software.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay. Another one, this is kind of a website of tools, awesome Mac admin tools. Again, some of the ones I've mentioned are on this website, but there are plenty more that I didn't get to. I am not a Jamf user. I know there are a ton of Jamf users, but I did not mention any Jamf tools today because I don't use it. But there are definitely quite a few at this link here. Again, this is kind of more of a live version of the presentation, even though I don't do anything with this website, but again, there's tons of tools and recommendations. It's updated regularly. It's on GitHub. If you find something you want added, open a pull request kind of thing. Again, highly recommended.
If you have stuff that you're responsible for, and if those things get handed out to people or get put in places where lots of people can use them, you might need to keep track of where things are and when they went there. If you are also in the business of loaning things out temporarily to other people, this is a website that you're going to be thankful to know about if you don't have a tool for this already. This is snipeit.com. They have a hosted and a non-hosted version that you can run locally if you want. The fees for this are relatively affordable. We used it to synchronize with our directory and get tens of thousands of different people who work at my organization. When those people individually log in, they can use MFA to keep things secure. We worked with our facilities team to get a list of every building, every floor, and every room, and then populated this. And we also defined the different manufacturers that we buy from, the different models. And the nice thing about Snipe is that you really only have to enter information once. When you enter a manufacturer once, if you enter Apple, you only have to enter that once. If you enter in a iPad Pro, that's the last time you have to enter that particular model. If Apple makes a new one, you enter the new one. And then you can enter individual serial numbers. It's also capable of importing things automatically. And it will keep track of things like software licenses, so it's not just hardware assets. I like it very much. It has additional features too. For instance, if you are deploying things like a workgroup printer to a room, you can do that rather than applying it to Steve, who happens to work there this year until he retires, and then suddenly it's no longer associated with Steve. Again, if you are loaning out things like audio recorders and tripods, like we do where I work, this lets me loan those out to students or to other professors or to other staff and know that they are out with that person now and when they're due back. It also allows me to create a page of loanables that people can make use of. So they get a menu of what is available from us. And they can, much like your local neighborhood library, they can put holds on things and say, I'm looking for this thing for this date. And then this tool can keep track of those things for you. If you have to have anything repaired, you can scan the repair order or the date that the repair was done and what was happened and how much you paid to have it repaired, and keep track of those things. This tool has nice little cubby holes for all of those pieces of information. If you have manuals or receipts or other documents that you want to associate, this will happily accept those as well. It does have an API, so you can do very interesting queries or do imports or exports from it. And like I said, you can either host this yourself or you can do a subscription service with them as well. Similarly, something I heard about earlier this week as I was in a session regarding scripting, if you are new to scripting, you may not know about all the commands that are available in the shell, and this is a tool that gives you a list of them and then a short description of what each one does. If you want to know more about any of these things, you can click the little blue link and it will present to you the Unix manual page for each one, so you can learn about all of the various components and complexities related to each individual command. All right, and here's time for the bonus round. Who's heard of camel, camel, camel? Can I get a show of hands? Okay, so almost half of you. I'm so excited to be the person who tells the other half of you and whoever's in the overflow room about camel, 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 because it's one of my favorite websites. I love getting a good deal on things, but mostly I love not paying more than I have to on something. If you are the kind of person who buys things from Amazon.com, you may know that when you go to look at an individual item, it will tell you what the item's price is. This is not terribly surprising. But that number with the dollar sign next to it, is that a good price? Is the price trending up or trending down? Does this item tend to go and have its price reduce on a periodic basis, or before the holidays for gift giving season, or in any other time that we should be aware of? This tool scrapes Amazon and keeps track of what prices are for the items at Amazon. And it looks like this. So here's the Apple Magic Keyboard with Touch ID. And we can see that Amazon's price is $187. But if you look at below, you can see what the price history is. And I think this is the most interesting part. So you can see in general, it's hovered around $200. And then it suddenly dropped in price. And then periodically, it's gone essentially on sale here and there. So this lets you know if the current price is at the low end of the range or it's at the high end of the range. You can also look to see if there are periodic dips in price and then time your purchase for that. In addition, you can also use, by the way, this is all free. You can also use Camel, Camel, Camel to send you a alert when the price falls below a certain threshold. And you can pick whether that's a certain percentage threshold or whether it's a certain numerical threshold. And it will happily send you an email and say, by the way, this thing you wanted is available. Now, they make their money by being an Amazon affiliate. So when you purchase something, you help support this tool. But this has been one of my favorite e-commerce tools that I've been happy to share with others. Okay, so now we've officially reached the Catchbox section.
Yeah.
Where you can tell us what you think about what you've seen and also share with us stuff that we would love to know about as much as everybody else in the room. So should we take the Catchbox and let it rip?
Oh,
I know we had a friend in the back that we wanted to make sure to get to for sure, but all right.
All right, nice throw.
baseball game tonight.
Yeah,
right?
you're going to be playing tonight, right? Opening pitch? You were mentioning the MOFA site. There was the
I know, we covered a lot.
the office packages.
Yes.
There was
The
one other
MOFA.
site that wasn't up there that I want to mention because it's going to go dark in a few weeks. It was the office-reset.com utility.
Right.
Yes.
I put it in the Dean's channel, but basically it was a package that will basically obliterate anything you have installed Office related. Paul Bowden wrote it. He had that website. It was hosted. The funding ran out. I was pulling teeth with his web host to get them to take my money to renew it for a year, but it's going to go dark in a few weeks when that runs out. So if somebody wants to, go grab that package and put it on the MOFA site so that there is a copy of that utility available.
Can you maybe provide an example of how would people know when it's time to go fetch that and make use of it? What's a good reason?
If Office apps are broken, misbehaving, corrupted, or
Okay.
if your users have hosed it beyond all reasonable belief and you just want to erase everything.
Yeah, so after you've tried everything else
Yeah.
and it's still broken,
Yes, it's the option when you need to nuke it from orbit because it's the only way to be sure.
right. I think that's a great idea.
It's not an official Microsoft tool. Powell wrote it.
But is it not in the user shared part of the?
I don't think so.
I thought it was. Some of the other scripts.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay, if it is, great, but if it's not, somebody needs to go grab it.
But
Further
that's worth mentioning that I've used Office Reset before and it has saved an entire afternoon of
Yeah,
frustration.
it can be very selective if you want it to be, but there's also just the nuclear option
Just-
if you want it.
Big red button. Thank you for that.
Talking about the virtualization, y'all mentioned Tart. One thing that's really powerful there, if you combine it with Packer, you can have it automatically advance through Setup Assistant
Okay.
when it boots up. So great when new betas come out and you want to make a VM of that new beta, you don't have to sit there and click through all the options in Setup Assistant. It'll just do it automatically and then ready to go for you to start testing.
So that's what Packer does, is that it automates the answers to all the magic questions that Apple would love for you to.
Yeah, correct.
go
And
through.
there's templates for different OS versions on GitHub from Cirrus Labs, who makes Tart, that you can just grab and run with.
All right, good to know.
There's one over here.
I can't believe I'm at a Mac conference talking about Post-it notes, but
This
going
is,
back-
this is where I learned about
Hey,
those.
hey.
And it is very sad, and they will be missed.
so if I can only find it on Amazon, but Scotch brand sells repositionable adhesive spray that turns anything into a Post-it note. It's basically a spray version of the glue on the back of it.
Okay,
So you can like spray it on an index card, slap it on the wall,
Yeah.
and remove it. And it's super handy for meetings and signage and all
oh,
sorts
that's
of
good,
stuff.
because I can finally spray it on Nate and
Yeah,
just make sure he stays where I put him.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a weight limit. All right. Become Spider-Man, though.
Yeah, no, that's great.
One in the back.
Others? We have plenty of time for anything that you want to share with the rest of the room.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I didn't think about this until I was standing behind looking at everybody, but there's a really cool feature built into iPhone and Mac that if you're signed into both with the same Apple ID, say something like you open TextEdit on your computer, you can right-click, say take a picture, it'll actually control your phone. You can take a picture of whatever it is, and it'll immediately go into the document on your Mac.
It'll paste it in, so it gives you a live capture of
Yeah.
whatever your phone happens to be looking at,
Yeah.
wherever it is.
So, future note for myself when I watch this recording for
Yeah.
next year's presentation, we need to do continuity features in general. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of, myself, I know they exist, but I've never
Right.
used them, so it might be worth. Oh,
Okay? If we could get the catch box up here, we have some,
the longest throw of the room.
Yeah.
And heads up.
this is why it's padded.
1, 2, okay, yeah, all right. So going on the taking a picture thing, right? Check this out. If you take a picture of data that's been sourced, let's say you get a PO with
Okay.
serial numbers, whatever it is. You use your phone, you can
Yes.
scan it,
Right?
right into notes. You can highlight that using live text. You can right-click it, and using Apple Intelligence and writing tools, you can format that directly into a table.
I only knew about the first half of that.
Yeah, I
didn't know about the second half of that.
Definitely I need to play with Apple Intelligence.
This
more.
is why I come to these.
Yeah.
Others?
If only someone would write
There's a lot of hints
section
in
about
this.
this.
Since I have the box and it's right here,
Oh,
you can also grab icons out of apps if you get info on the app.
Yes.
Select that, copy
Yes.
it, and then open a preview and create a new document file
Yeah.
name.
And I think that's worked since System 7.
That's lightning.
Ooh, somebody liked that one.
That's thunder. These people are not allowed in the front anymore. Nope.
Banned.
A trick
please.
that I quite like. If any of you have end users whose desktops are a nightmare, I'm sure none of us here, right?
I have Windows
if,
users,
If
so
you
I'm-
right-click the desktop, there's a fun little option called Use Stacks.
Yes.
That will just sort all of their horrible, like unsorted things all into.
Was that a Sonoma feature? I feel like I'm asking the right people.
So, a
Relatively
new-
recent?
Yeah. I actually.
Yes. Stacks is very helpful. It allows you to see your picture of your grandkids again,
Yes.
if you're that user. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Real quick, I saw a meme recently where it was like the folks that used to just shove all their stuff in their lockers never had it organized or anything like that, and it's like, where are those people today? And they like showed someone's
shows-
desktop with all the things.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
I like the part where the drop shadows on all the icons have essentially turned them into black
Oh, yeah.
manhole covers with one icon on the top.
Yeah.
Please.
So with your portable display conversation,
Yes.
I realize that because of Apple Retina display scaling, they sometimes look horrible. It's like you just put one app in the middle of a computer screen.
Right.
So there are some apps, the only one that I know of is Better Display,
Okay.
that will actually make Apple think it's the display it's supposed to be.
Okay.
And then the scaling won't get weird with text.
So it allows
being-
it to impersonate a different flavor of display?
Yeah, and then it'll look more normal. There's
Great.
a couple other apps that do it. Better Display is licensed to let you do some of those configs outside of paying for it, but something definitely useful if you have the external display so it doesn't look like
Okay. And if
720p.
money is tight and you don't have money for that, but you do have an e-waste pile where you work, and you can pull out a 22 or a 12-inch monitor, maybe you can make it pretend to be something better than it is, at least temporarily.
Correct.
Until the new budget year. All right, other folks, what can you tell us that's awesome? I want to hear all about it.
All right, it's been around for a while, but Suspicious Package
Yes.
is an amazing tool. You can get ID, like vendor, the developer ID numbers. You can see what it's doing, what's in there. I really like that. I don't remember what the website is for it, but
It's
Ruin, yes.
Mothersruin.com, Suspicious Package lets you inspect Apple installer packages and learn more about them, including what the payloads are that they will install, how many scripts there are that run both before and after those installations happen. It will let you see the contents of those scripts, which, as I've learned from Greg Nagel years ago, when you can look at other people's scripts, you can see all the horrible decisions that they've made just to get something out the door. And then I don't feel as bad about my own scripts.
It also checks for signing and stapling.
We'll check for signing and stapling to make sure that things are able to be installed cleanly on recent OSs. So we have a couple more hands in the back.
A couple more notes about that real quick is there is a second app. We did cover it in the last year called Apparency, which specifically does more code signing stuff on apps and stuff like that, not just packages, but actual apps. So there's two great apps from that same developer.
Okay.
I saw the box. Oh, there it is.
So to make sure that we capture it.
Yes, thank you.
Enabling Touch ID for sudo.
Yes.
That's a PAMD
Right.
change, and you can totally do that in a managed config from MDM via DDM.
I didn't know
You can
that.
just
Did you know
deploy that file.
It's a new DDM thing.
It's a new thing?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a,
So
Okay.
PAMD is a managed config option. Put that one file into a managed config payload, deploy it to your fleet.
Can
Your
you only
users
do
that
that
have
through
sudo access
DDM,
will
or
love you.
can you
Yes,
only through DDM?
only
Okay.
DDM.
You can also run a sudo t command to create the entry in that file.
Yeah.
oh.
So if you just want to like deploy a script.
So
Yeah, capture that.
Yeah.
For the recording,
You go ahead.
no, please.
Basically, you can run sudo-t. Was it?
Yeah, there's a one-liner.
One-liner from sudo that will put that entry in the PAM file for you, so that you don't have to do the copy of the file and then edit the file and stuff. It's a faster way to do it. So I'm assuming like man sudo should tell you how to do that. I'm
Right.
trying to not open my
Mr.
terminal right now.
Mr. Hammond is clearly
Can we get the,
investigating.
Are you done
person.
with the catchbacks? Or?
I have one other silly thing.
Please.
For those of you that use the terminal app all the time and find yourself typing the word clear, Command K
Oh yes.
is your friend.
Yes.
And it doesn't put anything into your history when you Command K.
Very nice. So you don't have clear this, clear this, etc. Very nice.
Another terminal tip that
Okay.
I learned a couple of years ago that saved me a lot of time is if you want to edit a line that you're working on,
Okay.
you can use the mouse with the, I believe it's option click, and it'll jump the cursor to where you clicked.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Almost.
Man, so many good tips here. I'm glad we left this much space at the end of the presentation.
Yes, that
for
was
this.
totally intentional.
All right, I have one question and then one suggestion.
We'll do our best.
For Choosy,
Yes?
can you specify like a browser profile to open specific things with, or just the browser
I
itself?
feel like when I looked at the webpage, I did see the word profile somewhere in there, so I want to believe that it is true, but please do not quote me on that.
Okay.
I will leave that as an exercise to the questioner.
Okay, and then with the notch being pretty prominent, like menu bar,
True.
Organizer apps, there's hidden bar and ice.
Okay.
There's probably a few others, but.
And those let you manage all of the
Yes,
menu
because-
bar items.
Yes, sometimes if you have too many things, it'll go behind the notch because macOS doesn't really know that the notch is there. And then they'll just, you or your user will lose it forever.
Okay, so if you get a support request in that says, hey, I used to have this on my menu bar and now I don't have it, where'd it go?
Yes.
But meanwhile, it claims to still be running?
We've
then-
actually had requests from our developers. We're trying to actually not take the apps out, but like hide the menu bars for them because they're hitting the notch and can't see the things they want to be able to see.
So managing the locations of that is really helpful.
Right. Well, just making sure they're not up there at all, so that they're like there's less to see.
Sure.
This is one. What's that?
macOS 26 has that natively in the operating system.
He's saying macOS 26 has that natively in the operating system.
Oh, to be able to like the bartender to.
You can pick and choose to turn them off.
I should play with that more.
Thank you for capturing
Speaking of the notch,
Yes.
something that has still not grown on me, I use a little hidden keyboard shortcut in display preferences.
Okay.
I hold the Option key while clicking the scaling radio button, and then it shows me the full list of resolutions.
Yes.
And then I hit Show All Resolutions, and I
Right.
pick the one just below the current size. That will shrink the
That
screen
shoves
just a
everything
little
down?
bit, just below the notch, and so you get the full menu bar all the way across.
Very nice.
This is one of those things that I've never really played with these because I'm not trying to brag or anything. I have a 49-inch ultra wide at home, and I work in clamshell mode, so I have all the room for them, and it's never a problem.
49.
49-inch, yeah. It's not the size of the monitor; it's how you
Gee whiz.
use it.
Yeah, but does it have a notch?
No, it doesn't.
Yes, all right, we have another.
Oh,
no. Mr. Hammond wants to let us know.
I DM'd the one-liner for that you can run as a script or command to enable Touch ID. So,
Oh, you DM'd it to me? Did you put it in the channel for the no? Could you? Yeah,
Would
Dean's
you
Hall 2, please.
consider that? That would be great.
So that'll be in Dean's Hall 2 for anyone watching the recording. Yeah, because I don't think we're doing. Yeah, it'll be in Dean's Hall 2. You can go
Come
back to
again
the
next
slide.
year, and we'll
Yeah,
make sure to share
we'll
it with
add
the whole
it to the
room.
slide. Go ahead.
Sorry, me again, hi.
Oh, please.
Lunar is another app that's similar to Better Display, does
Okay.
a different thing. Lunar also lets you control your external displays with the brightness key, volume keys, but it just is a button to the notch conversation. You can just click hide notch, and then it just moves
Jumps it down.
the notch entirely.
Interesting.
So that's,
That was lunar, you said?
yeah, it's like the moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is James Stewart in here? I don't know if James made it in here. So this is a completely side. What's that?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
that's,
presenting.
I wanted to watch that too, and I can't. Obviously.
Not yet.
Not yet. He just mentioned this to me the other day, and this is kind of niche as well. Moonlight and Sunlight, I think it was.
Yes.
Basically, it's open source streaming to an Apple TV, so you can like have. I think it's Sunlight on your gaming PC and Moonlight on your Apple TV, so that you can like stream gaming to an Apple TV. I know this is really niche, I'm sorry, but like he just told me about it yesterday. I'm like, I really got to check that out when I get home. So if that's something for you, I know like Steam has their own Steam Cloud or Steam Stream. I've never actually used it. I just game on my gaming PC. So that's something else just to put out.
Like an animal.
Anyone else?
Others.
Not this guy.
We've
He's
covered.
not allowed.
No.
No, one up here. Yeah, JD's got a.
Here we go. Oh no.
Now you make him stand up. I paid him to do that.
Paid him to do that. Since we all live in emojis,
Yes.
Rocket by Matthew Palmer is
Okay.
a great little app that lets you do the Slack style emojis. So you in any app, so
You hit the
can do
colon
and
and
type
write out what
whatever
you wanna
emoji
see.
you want.
Okay.
Interesting.
One more
I
I,
didn't
will
know that
mention,
one.
and then we're getting pretty close on time. Pushover is another great service to use to be able to essentially put an app on your phone, especially iOS phones and stuff like that, and it allows you to get push notifications from whatever you might want a push notification from. So you can actually, one of its services is you can email a specific, you get your own email address and you can email that email address and it will show up as a push notification on your phone. So Pushover is another great tool. I use it to connect to certain applications that may help you acquire videos and television shows.
I presume that would require.
Pushover, sorry,
Pushover.
it's for those on the recording,
Yeah.
it's pouring outside at the moment. Pushover.net.
If you're watching this on YouTube, we hope it's drier where you
Yeah,
are
it's-
presently.
It's thundering and lightning and hailing on the ceiling
Yeah.
at the moment. So, are we good? Is there anyone else got anything else? We're going to wrap up because I know dinner's right around. We're going to a baseball game in the rain. Who's
What
excited?
could possibly go wrong? Thank you.